Blizzard, why are you doing this to me? I'm supposed to hate you, and yet I can't stop playing Diablo 4's beta. Honestly, you haven't made a good game since StarCraft 2 in my opinion, so this is actually a huge surprise to me. And of course, there's arguments there. There were some decent games, but none of them were really good. None of them were addictive like Diablo 2, like StarCraft. Honestly, I'm really hoping you don't mess this up before launch, because the world needs another good JRPG, and honestly, this is probably the best one I've played since Diablo 2. Seriously, it has that much potential. It takes a bunch of concepts from Path of Exile and even some from Lost Ark and elegantly smashes them into a Diablo game and makes them far more user-friendly and accessible to players with a gameplay feel that gives me nostalgia of Diablo 2 and a storyline that has as much dark and grit as Diablo 1, and in many cases, at least in the first act, it's even darker. We cannot put this game down right now. I'm fucking serious when I say that. I've actually already maxed out a sorcerer to level 25 in the first day, and I've beaten the first act and completed the entire beta. I've even made a second character a rogue and gotten her through the first boss. I'm actually trying to make this video as quickly as possible because I really want to max out all 3 classes through this weekend and try to 100% that first act. So if you plan to play the beta or want to know more about it, here's a few things to remember and what you should expect. Disclaimer, alphas and betas are not designed just for the player. While it's our first chance to test out this game, it's also a chance for the devs and network IT to try to break this game and test things out. So during this time, you should expect things to go wrong. And what I'm about to share is only our experience. Many people had better or worse experiences than we did, and all of this is coming from Tier 2 gameplay, so not that Tier 1 pussy shit. Alright, now let's kick this off. Day 1 queue times were like 60 minutes on average for everybody. I mean, I got hit with this multiple times. It was pretty frustrating. And now day 2, it's gone, but I can guarantee you the open beta is going to have a lot of this because Blizzard is historically horrible at forecasting how many players to expect. And I'm sure there's some mad scientist, networking engineer injecting code to test whether clusters of servers are going to crash or not. Now, it's the smart way to prepare for launch, which kind of leads to my next point. Expect disconnects and crashes. They're gonna happen. I was disconnected 4 times with waits of over an hour just to get back online between them, and I also crashed twice, getting stuck in that same queue. One of those crashes even forced me to restart my machine, and Windows had to do a repair, so be warned, those are still in the game. All in all, it took me about 13 hours to get 8 hours of gameplay on day 1. So that's probably a pretty good expectation for the second week if you're playing day 1. However, this morning on day 2, I've got 3 hours of solid gameplay in start to finish without a queue and without a DC or a crash. That being said, I attribute that mostly to luck and not engineers. Now, there are also a lot of graphical and audio bugs. Expect screen tearing, choppiness, frame drops, audio sounding weird, and things just a little off. It's absolutely something I'd expect during a beta. I'm just really hoping I don't see this at launch, so Blizzard, be forewarned, get this stuff fixed. The game is also not optimized, and there are no recommended settings, so I definitely recommend spending some time to get this optimized for yourself. Now, for more of the good stuff. The gameplay is amazing. It definitely feels like Diablo 2, and it's certainly challenging on Tier 2. We died a lot, and even had a boss fight that we had to give up on until we got to a higher level. Cheers to you, Vampire King. Now, each class feels very different in gameplay, and even different builds in the same class drastically change your experience. The gameplay really opens up also once you've hit level 25. For Sorceress, that meant I unlocked a passive spell that attached to my active spell and cast at like a 3% chance whenever I cast that active spell. I also was able to unlock ultimates, which all makes group combat that much more fun. We had an absolute blast trying out spells and skill combinations, trying to clear out areas as fast as possible. Which brings me to my next point. It was actually challenging to do this because the monster variety is incredible. It's got so many assets from previous games, you kind of get a chance to see most of your favorites in just that first act, really leaving the next act open for new or improved enemies. There's also a lot more ambushy type mechanics in here. We found ourselves getting trapped in new ways and a lot more often than in previous Diablo titles. One call out here with those monsters, loot drops are kind of insane right now. You can see players decked out in legendary gear, and I'm pretty sure that this is unrealistic against what we can expect from an actual launch. Now, of course, some of this probably had to be turned up since they killed parts of trade, but honestly, I think this is a lot more for them to test out the balance of these items while they've got the beta going. And to be honest with you, there's so much content here that it's kind of fine, and it's only the first act. From items to dungeons, side quests, hidden secrets, and Easter eggs, they knock it all out of the park so far. There's a lot to do in the first act, which is fantastic, and we really just hope that the other acts can live up to this one. One of the things that we're really worried about is that Act 1 is kind of for show, and they did all the content detail and polishing for this, and we're kind of worried that the other acts aren't going to be as impressive, which after Diablo Immortal might be right out of their playbook. We'll see what happens. The storyline is also epic. It's really good so far, and it's super dark and twisted. It's basically metal as fuck. While there is a lot of placeholder reading, some choppy dialogue, and clearly placeholder dialogue, so far it's fantastic, and I really just want to learn more. I'm legitimately excited to see the rest of the story. I cannot wait for this game to actually launch. Now that is, of course, with us giving a pass on those placeholders and the choppiness of the dialogue. Blizzard, please fix that before launch, or you're probably going to eat some shit for it. Overall, this is a fantastic first taste of Diablo 4. It's actually got our hopes that this is the Diablo 2 sequel that we all wanted out of Diablo 3. Now, we say this, but we're also super skeptical. There's so much time between now and launch that changes could come and really ruin that feel, and this is right out of Diablo's playbook of launching a beta with the first act. One of the things we're worried about is this is actually going to be the best act with all the good content, that feeling, and then it kind of starts to dwindle the more that you play through the game. We're really hoping it doesn't get there, and right now, we're putting all those worries aside because the next couple weeks, we all get to play Diablo, and the gameplay here is awesome. We recommend you check it out, at least the open beta, as it is free next week. Now, if you are playing the beta or you're interested in it, what do you think of what you've seen so far, and what class are you liking the most? Leave a comment below, and if you like this video and want to see some more Diablo 4 content, please hit like and subscribe. It really helps tiny channels like ours. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time on Entertainment Value.